Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and I want to thank you and staff for doing the research necessary to bring some expert witnesses in here that believe there are ways to solve the challenges of today's home buyers without the federal government simply throwing more money that it doesn't have, that it would have to borrow to solve some of the issues. Drs. Frantioni and Dr. Lutz, please summarize, each of you, the impact of inflationary finance on housing affordability over the past 3 years.
Yeah, so as I mentioned in my testimony, that to counter that inflation, the Fed rapidly raised short-term rates, and we saw mortgage rates more than double in response. You couple that with the rapid increase in home prices, we've seen a median principal and interest on a mortgage payment go up more than $900 on a mortgage. So again, really eating into affordability because obviously wages have not grown nearly as fast.
Okay. Dr. Lutz?
Thank you. And the only thing that I would add to Dr. Franantoni is that when we look at the component of rent to CPI, it's 7 to 8%. So as individuals are seeing their rents go up, they're, one, hit by that financially and having a harder time, secondarily, saving for their own down payment for a mortgage. So it's a double hit for renters currently.
For sure. Same two witnesses, a question. Do you think when inflation is tamed that we'll go back to more reasonable rates and the effect it will have on the market at that time?
Yeah, so we do expect that inflation is going to continue to decrease per the Fed's goal of getting it back to 2% over the next couple of years. And as that happens, expect that longer term interest rates will edge down over time, not quickly, right, but over time. But given the structural undersupply in the market, we certainly don't expect home prices are going to decline. If we get some additional supply from builders, maybe the rate of home price growth will slow. But I think this level of home prices is baked in most of the country now.
Dr. Lutz?
Yes, still in agreement. So looking at mortgage interest rates, we do expect that hopefully in the second half of the year we will see them come down. But unfortunately, they've been stuck in the 6% range for the last 14 weeks. So that is hitting affordability. If we look at interest rates, though, historically, we do know that we're a full percentage point under the historical norms since 1971. So we are at a lower point, but I think we also have to remember that when we think about the lock-in effect to those 2 and 3% interest rates, it's very difficult to fathom someone being able to financially move.
Okay, yeah, you both alluded to it, but would you care to further comment on how the long-term interest rates determine the course of the housing market going forward?
Yeah, so Dr. Lutz mentioned the lock-in effect. So a homeowner that was able to refinance into a low 3 or high 2 mortgage rate is just much less likely to list their property. It doesn't mean they're never going to list. Life keeps happening. People still keep getting married, having children, getting new jobs, and they might have to leave that low rate behind. But it's a friction in the system. So it's going to keep existing inventory much lower than it otherwise would be. And that's been a support to home prices. But for someone trying to get into the market, it's really an obstacle.
Very good. Dr. Lutz?
Absolutely, and the lock-in effect is absolutely happening, but life changes do happen as well, and it's generally the #1 reason why someone does move, is because a life change has happened. I will also say that it is likely to impact first-time homebuyers more than repeat buyers, because repeat buyers continue to gain housing equity where first-time homebuyers do not have that housing equity to rely on.
Thank you. Dr. Lutz, in an effort to mitigate increasing prices, what do you think Congress and local governments can do to help remove the obstacles for achieving the benefits of building modular home construction?
Certainly, I think that there's a lot of new home products that could come onto the market, and I think it's really important to note, too, that while there's a lot of new homes that have been built over the course of the last year, at least more ramped up building than we have seen the decade prior, that we need all sorts of home products, because we do know right now that there's a larger share of single households. There's a larger share of first-time home buyers trying to enter into the market, young adults, but also seniors who may need a smaller property as well. So not the traditional large single-family home on the market.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, my time's about to expire. I'll yield back.